product sales engineer with Virtuosity Bentley company. So today with me, I have Malin, who will be the presenter, and together we'll be talking about how to design a larger civil model faster using OpenRoads Designer. So before I start the session, I'll be sharing a housekeeping video on how to navigate around the webinar panel, as well as a short introduction on what our Virtuosity commercial offering is.
Hello everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. Before we get started, I'd like to go over a few items. We've taken a screenshot of an example of the attendee interface. You should see something that looks like this on your own computer desktop in the upper right-hand corner. Most likely, by default, you're listening in using your computer's speaker system. If you would prefer to join over the phone, just select the telephone in the audio pane and the dial-in information will be displayed. For those of you viewing live, you'll have the opportunity to submit questions via the chat box in the questions pane of the control panel. You may send in your questions at any time during the presentation, and we will address them during the Q&A session at the end. You might also find some helpful resources and information in the handouts section of your control panel. After today's presentation, we will make this recording available, so no need to panic taking notes. Just focus on the presentation and keep your eyes out for an email from us with the recording. At the close of the webinar, we ask that you complete the survey so that we can improve our webinars and identify how we can better serve you. And of course, be sure to stay tuned for our next webinar. Now, the moment you've been waiting for. Let's get started. Virtuosity is Bentley's e-commerce platform that provides an easy, affordable way to purchase practitioner licenses of Bentley software paired with expert services, training, and mentoring.
All right, before we start the session, probably to help with Malin with a presentation, maybe I'll launch a poll question to get everyone's feedback on what frustrates you with your experience using a civil design software. So I'll give everyone about 15 seconds to vote. Yeah, I still see some results coming in. All right, I'm closing the poll in 5 seconds. All right, let me just share the results. And yeah, it looks like a lot of you are facing the problem of lack of support and training from vendor, as well as the integration issue, and of course the pricing. I hope throughout this webinar from Melan's presentation, you'll be able to benefit from some of the frustration you are facing. And for the commercial part, probably we'll reach out to you personally to find out more on how we can help you with that. So without much delay, I'll pass the session to Melan to start with the presentation.
Okay, thank you, Casey. Let me just share my screen. So, hopefully you can see my screen. Is it? Can you let me know, Casey? Is it showing?
Yes, it's showing now, Melan.
Okay, great. So let me start. Good day, everyone. Maybe good morning to those who are still in India or in Southeast Asia and ANZ location. It's already noon time. Okay, so I am Melanie. Okay, from the civil team Southeast Asia, based in Singapore. So today I will be focusing on the underlying technology behind OpenRoads Designer that makes it the preferred civil design solution of many medium to large scale civil infrastructure projects. Okay, but of course, don't get us wrong. You can also use OpenRoads Designer, okay, or the solution that we will be showcasing today, even if, let's say, the project is only small scale, okay, and probably your organization from small to medium up to the large scale. So just goes to say that our solution is pretty much scalable. Okay, now to start, so I just would like you to see this video here, which I think some of you probably would probably saw already in one of our links in Bentley or even Virtuosity. This is a sample project that Bentley, uh, with its civil team, designed in order to more or less push OpenRoads Designer to its limits. So it's a sample project that integrates road networks, highways, even site, okay, including bridges, building models, okay, integrated with some GIS or reality models, survey data, just to show you, okay, that our solution, okay, basically OpenRoads Designer as the main civil design tool can get you into a result that looks something like this, okay? But of course, later on in the presentation, I will show you those sample projects that our users have actually created, okay, to showcase that how they are leveraging or harnessing the power of OpenRoads Designer. Now, as you can see, a civil or transportation project entails a lot of trades or disciplines depending on the complexity of the project. Okay, it could include bridges, tunnels, interconnected existing or proposed roads, as well as rail lines. And with this, there are lots of challenges we need to be aware of. And today, this is basically our agenda. How or what is this power behind or underlying power behind OpenRoads Designer that allows you to deliver different scales of projects? And how are you going to harness the power of rules as well as relationships in OpenRoads Designer, using its geometry design tools as well as the core or the heart and soul functionality of the software, which is the corridor modeling. And then some of examples as well as functionalities that allows you to further be flexible, okay, and deliver scalable projects. and as I said, a sample user showcase for those who would like to see how our users are using our solutions for the past many decades. Okay. In the previous webinars that you probably attended, okay, a couple of webinars basically for civil, okay, my colleagues have already explained some of the features and functionalities of OpenRoads Designer. Now, just to refresh our memories, okay, ORD, which I would now use to refer OpenRoads Designer, is Bentley's main civil design and information modeling solution for roads and site projects. It has MicroStation Connect Edition as the base CAD platform and integrates different discipline-specific workflows like reality modeling using Descartes functionalities, drainage and utilities network design, as well as layout using, and it also allows you to create storm, water, or drainage analysis because it has Storm CAD engine inside as well. It also can allow you to integrate your geotechnical data using the GIN Civil tools. And of course, it's robust survey functions. Now, let's first understand the power behind OpenRoads Designer through these four main points: common data environment, federated file management, and what is this workspace-driven terminology that I would discuss later on. And then finally, let's understand why OpenRoads Designer has a higher level BIM mindset. So first and foremost, ORD is able to deliver scalable projects mainly because its platform is already powerful enough to sustain medium to big scale projects, which is, I think you know of it already, MicroStation, okay, which is already in the Connect Edition. It actually utilizes the full 64-bit computing power of your operating system, and ORD leverages on numerous MicroStation-based configurations that makes it stable in its computing capabilities. Its CAD configurations are the basis of the fundamental civil feature definitions of ORD. You will also later on find out that the dynamic drawing production tools of ORD are based on the robust systematic functionalities of MicroStation. And in addition to all these, MicroStation is a common platform among all our open applications. Okay, one of those is OpenRoads Designer. We also have OpenRail Designer, and then Open Buildings Designer, OpenBridge Modeler, OpenPlant Modeler, and many others. Okay, so with our aim to make sure we seamlessly connect our users, we have an improved connect services through some MicroStation-based user interface so that you get a common user experience regardless of what open application you are using. And of course, this includes OpenRoads Designer. So that's one point. And to further on that, we know that in any civil infrastructure projects, you are dealing with different formats coming from a survey, digital terrain model, geometries or alignments, cross sections, corridor definitions, and proposed terrains. Now with OpenRoads Designer, all these data are in your DGN file, okay, or can be saved in a DGN file, allowing you to use, of course, leverage on the comprehensive civil tools of ORD, and then deliver a BIM model, which basically is a common data, which is DGN, that allows you to output, okay, to output your design, okay, or your models or other deliverables like reports, quantities, sheets, or even your construction stakeout formats, only by using OpenRoads Designer. Now, this is an overall picture of the design and delivery workflow in OpenRoads Designer. And this may be similar to what you do using other civil design softwares. However, how do you face the challenge of handling numerous data saved in quite a number of files? A medium to large scale civil infra project may involve hundreds or even thousands of files coming from different teams doing different tasks like survey, alignments, site, cross-section, then of course your corridor model itself. So what if you also need to lay out the existing drainage, then utilities, other utilities networks um, that can be, and together with your proposed lines as well. So how do you handle or output your reports and deliver uh, and manage effectively your drawing sheet deliverables? Okay, and not to mention, of course, the in thing right now is your BIM deliverables, maybe in IFC format or even iModel formats. And then sometimes we also get to output our models into an animation or any visualization output. So how do you share also your data to your stakeholders? So these are quite few challenges that we are facing right now. But how do we address all this? So with ORD, the simple approach of file federation addresses all these challenges. It would be great if we have an all DGN format, which makes the collaboration easier, okay? But still, handling such numerous files are tough to manage. So if your organization has yet to use Bentley's connected data environment platform, which is ProjectWise, ORD can still effectively manage your engineering data by just simply referencing, managing your data in a per DGN manner. The boxes that you see in this slide represent a DGN file, which are then referenced by another DGN in order to show its content or utilize the information in that file in the next step of your design workflow. You do not put, okay, so this is the best practice. Do not put all your civil data in one file. And this is one of the best practices we always teach or more or less evangelize to our users. And why is this important? It is important because you store all your civil data in a DGN file. So meaning to say everything are in that DGN, including survey, terrain, geometry, super elevation, corridors, etc. And OpenRoads is actually designed to work with such file federation approach. It is important to establish how you're going to work with each DGN. So federating them is a good way for you to manage information or civil information in your project. And it also establishes a local or logical folder structure as well as easy file naming conventions. So how do you do that? So as I said, save them in separate DGN files. Like your topo or survey data may be in one DGN, your terrain, geometry, corridors, utilities, okay, including your plan and profile sheets, which basically references the corridor, that could be referencing a geometry, that could be referencing terrain, and referencing topo survey. How do we benefit if we do such method? Okay, smaller files are inherently faster and more efficient, and it's easier to manage and recall where things are. And it also makes sure that regardless of you having small or big team, meaning to say maybe multi-user environment, people get to access files readily. And you have more control as well later on when you need to compile them for different scenarios. So maybe one scenario is that it is still in a conceptual stage, and then you have to bring it to detailed design, okay? And then probably different options as well in your design. So with such file federation, it's really easy for you to manage everything. Okay, so that is the second point. So the third point that I would like to discuss is having a workspace and work set driven type of configuration. So this is actually another underlying power of ORD. It could be, or the workspace work set manner of handling your project is more or less like setting a country, organization, or even a project standard. You have the ability to utilize predefined or the predefined country or regional data set that comes out of the box upon installing ORD, or use this as a basis of customizing your organization or even your project configuration. So these workspaces are a repository of all standards that you may have in your project. It stores all your default CAD and, of course, civil design libraries, including your annotations, civil object styles, like your alignment styles, geometry styles, terrain styles, corridor styles, and, of course, your drawing sheet styles. When I say drawing sheet, these are your plan, profile, or cross sections. ORD does not store its standards in one template file like other civil softwares, which is the main reason why file sizes becomes heavier and heavier as you progress with your project. So this workspace workset methodology can then be set as the standard in your organization, regardless of what project you are doing. Now, the beauty of this kind of technology is that it enables flexibility no matter how big or small your team is, or even your project. It can easily be shared within your organization, and together with the federated technique of file management, it optimizes your file sizes and allows for bigger or larger models to be created in the long run. So that's the third point. Now, the fourth point I would like to reiterate is that ORD has a higher BIM or building information modeling level mindset. So it doesn't just rely on your CAD or level zero mindset, because with ORD, it basically supports the full infrastructure lifecycle from planning, conceptual design, detailed design, to analysis, construction, and up to operations and maintenance. So if you are keen or probably have an idea of what I'm talking about, okay, this is just to let you know that a higher level kind of being mindset allows you to make sure that you don't waste the data that you create. Okay. Now, in line with that, okay, so this is again how we typically a typical roads or highway design and modeling workflow is, okay, from um, survey, conceptual design, detailed design, to construction up to the operations and maintenance. And although OpenRoads, most likely you would use it or utilize it in the conceptual design up to the detailed design, but the DGN or the file itself can then be taken to construction, okay, as well as asset, uh, as well as asset or maintenance and operations stage. Okay. Now, as an example, how do OpenRoads designer have this kind of mindset? So apart from its modeling capabilities or information modeling capabilities, OpenRoads allows you to assign or create asset attribution, okay, readily by creating a customized real life information. Okay, like for instance, what is being shown here, these are like information that you embed on a curve, giving you what type it is, maybe an asset number or asset tag, what is its geometric properties, which drainage or station is it referencing in relation to your main highway or maybe other types of roads. So this information basically allows you to take your model to the asset, okay, uh, phase of your project. And then this can also be shown as a report or maybe a table, which can be displayed in your model itself or maybe in your drawing production or your sheets. Okay, so this is very important, especially we don't the challenge that we are all facing right now when we're doing civil design project is that we keep on recreating our data again and again, which should not be the case. Now, to summarize that for points, for, for the common data, okay, which is all DGN-based workflow, um, although I said that it's DGN-based, but of course it still supports other file formats. It can take in other file formats. It can export or output to other file formats as well. But the main thing is this allows for an easy collaboration with other disciplines as well as other softwares. And then, of course, file federation allows or facilitates a multi-user environment, making collaboration easier. And having a workspace and work set more or less allows you a standardization of all your rules, your country or project configuration, and roll them out easily. And of course, still allowing you to have a very optimized or an optimized configuration. And having a higher level BIM mindset allows you to go beyond modeling, okay? So because you have to make sure that what you model currently can then be taken by the owners and operators in their asset management. Okay. Now you may be asking, so what apart from this underlying technology or power behind OpenRoads technology, how do we utilize, okay, how do we utilize OpenRoads in order for us to do our design as well as modeling? So we will tackle this by going more in depth with our civil geometries or alignment tools, and then also our dynamic corridor modeling. So we do this first by discussing civil geometry. Civil geometry, okay, or some of you may probably know it as alignments, okay? So these are elements with intelligence and are created in OpenRoads Designer with rules as well as associations. And it preserves its design intent from start to finish, okay? And it's just more than CAD graphics. Although the tools that you will be using is more or less like CAD, CAD methodology, but then the civil intelligence are intact from start to end. And these civil geometry are stored and managed in a DGN file and could import as well as export to different or numerous alignment formats. And of course, the most important thing is you can embed or follow a country or local design standard, which are also embedded in your workspace and work set. Okay. Now, when you use ORD in creating your civil design tools, you can invoke different rules as well as relationship by using geometry tools such as lines, arcs, points, and then together with the civil AccuDraw uh, tools, it can allow you to really invoke this rules and relationships. And then when you're doing modifications or editing, these rules and relationships are preserved or well preserved as you move along with your design. Now, for those who are probably exposed already to MicroStation, I think you've heard or probably you've heard of the AccuDraw. Okay, so with OpenRoads, we have a civilized version of that, which is basically similar to MicroStation AccuDraw. So we call it Civil AccuDraw. The Civil AccuDraw uh, is a tool that allows you to make sure that you can invoke a civil specific rule to your horizontal as well as your vertical alignment. So like what you can see here, it can be in the context of your horizontal geometry, okay, like probably laying them out based on station or chainage or maybe XYZ or XY, okay, or coordinates, be it polar or Cartesian coordinates, okay. And then once you shift to vertical alignment, it allows you to invoke Z or elevation relationship, okay, maybe a delta or change in elevation from one profile to another, and so on. So maybe let me just push this video to just uh, to just further, show how this tool works. Okay, but I guess it's best for us to see this example here. So those civil rules that I had mentioned, alignment rules, okay, by using AccuDraw or Snap rules, etc. Okay, these can be showcased in this video. So this is an example. Although I'm just showing a horizontal or horizontal geometry, okay, but basically by using different techniques, you'd be able to invoke different relationships, okay, that could be or very important when you're doing your horizontal as well as your vertical design. Every time you do trimmings or editings, uh, your geometries are dynamically, okay, ruled to a specific parent or mother geometry. So like for instance here, everything are ruled in the center line, which is the red alignment that you see here. So once you move that in different position or location, so all the rest of those geometries or alignments will basically update as it is being moved, regardless of angle or XY position and so on. Okay, so you really preserve your design intent from start to finish. And this can be relied upon when you're doing corridor modeling as well. So with geometry, okay, let's push now to corridor rules and relationships. So how do we leverage on the dynamic corridor rules and relationship? So first things first, the underlying power, okay, that is that facilitates all this dynamic corridor rules and relationship is the template. So the template, don't, for those who are new in Bentley or the ORD terminologies, so template is like your cross section, okay, more like your assemblies or sub-assemblies if you're using the other software. So it facilitates the creation of the 3D linear and closed components that follows the geometry direction. It can be set to become parametric and constraints driven, as you can see here in the two videos I'm showing with you. It also defines the pavement materials as well as allows you to calculate quantities later on. Then it's easy for you to do cut and fill because it has this dynamic end condition tools that allows you to basically dictate how it will cut or fill your existing or maybe your proposed graph. Now, once you have a good template, okay, that you have designed and behave dynamically, so you can now move on and create your corridor models. So with ORD, okay, you can create dynamic information models of your roadway and then use an easy creation as well as editing tools that are outlined in here, like template graphs, point controls, parametric constraint, corridor aliasing, corridor clipping or target aliasing. And then you can also, of course, invoke in your super elevation rules. Okay, and later on, I will show a sample of civil cells, which is basically a civilized block of any types of horizontal as well as corridor or road types like intersection, roundabouts, okay? And then another good point here is that OpenRoads now has an ability to utilize computational design, or we call it generative components, that allows you to do visual scripting in order for you to do your design. Now, just a sample of how we do dynamic information modeling starting from your templates is shown here in this example. So you can set an end condition that adjusts according to its target surface, and you can invoke in retaining walls that can change dynamically when the terrain changes. Okay, linear templates can be used to place abutments, and you can reference models created from OpenBridge Modeler or even Open Buildings Modeler because it's DGN based. What makes 3D modeling so easy inside ORD is its ability to provide also a design time visualization, which is very helpful to get a quick view and feel of your designed roadway. So your proposed, or maybe your proposed sites with parking lots and all the driveways can be modeled simply by, again, leveraging on the federated way of managing your information model. Okay, so it could include different civil or transportation facilities like roundabouts, which you can create using the civil cell technology, which I will show later on. Okay, easy to use creation and editing tools. Basically, as I've mentioned, point controls, constraint creation or parametric constraint will be able to create road or lane widening. Even the most one of the most challenging road island creation in other software can be done easily in OpenRoads Designer by incorporating the linear templates, okay, as well as some of the corridor clipping tools. And then we also have a surface template tools that allows you to really create that road island, which is quite challenging if you're using other softwares. Okay, so looking at the left image here or video here, it actually just shows you how easy it is to model a road or lane widening. Now, I have mentioned about civil cells, which is basically a good technology inside OpenRoads Designer. It allows you to, it allows you to save your most common, types of road or transportation facilities like roundabouts, junctions, intersections, be it T or across type of intersections. Okay? And this is saved in your workspace, meaning to say you can utilize them again and again. Once you have established a good workspace, and then just share them within your team, and they'll be able to utilize the same civil cell again and again. So if you notice how fast it is for you to model a roundabout like this, which if let's say you're using another tools, maybe you're doing it by using a wizard, right? Which sometimes can be a bit challenging and lets you or not flexible enough for you to adjust your design according to maybe real life design scenarios. Okay, so again, the technology, if you notice, is still relying on templates and saved in your DGN library. The DGN library is inside your workspace, and that makes your design that enables you to design bigger or larger transportation facilities, as you can see here in this example. Now, lastly, okay, of course, I think most of you, or probably some of you, have heard about computational design, wherein they try to leverage on visual programming in order to create different, or recreate different design scenarios. So we have that also included inside OpenRoads Designer. We call it GC, or Generative Components. So basically, you can assign or use visual scripting in order for you maybe to lay out lane markings, okay? But of course, there are tools that will allow you still to lay out lane markings using some tools that we have in ORD, okay? But this methodology, okay, gives you a reusable script, okay, allows you to create a reusable script in order for you to lay them out by just running the script, or updating the script anytime there's a change in your model. Like for instance, in this video here, once the main corridor, okay, changes, so I just um, drag the alignment, drastically in order for you to see what will happen. So updating the reference, because we're using a federated approach, we update the corridor, okay, and then we reference the file that has the uh, the lane markings as well as the barriers, okay. So if you notice, once the script or the GC script is updated, the model also updates. So this is one good corridor modeling tool available in OpenRoads Designer. Now with all these functionalities, okay, um, starting from the underlying technology that OpenRoads has, as well as its geometric, as well as corridor modeling tools, how else can you benefit from OpenRoads Designer? Okay, so most of the time, as I've mentioned, in an infrastructure project, so you're really dealing with different data, or different real world big data. And then you're also working and collaborating with numerous disciplines. And then you probably are required to deliver different file formats, model formats, and so on. And then probably your boss would ask you to show me the 3D model, or the BIM model, in animation, or maybe a nice visualization, etc. So with all this, how would you use or leverage on OpenRoads Designer in order to comply with these kinds of requirements? So as I said, with OpenRoads Designer, you are given, okay, a way, or you have a way to really utilize big real world data. So when I say big real world data, this could be your aerial imagery, any GIS data, or maybe point clouds. And the latest technology nowadays is your reality model. Okay? So integrating all this, even if they come from different formats, okay, ORD allows you to basically geo-coordinate them and make sure everything falls in the right position. Okay, regardless of what coordinate system it is, or the original data is utilizing. So we have a good tool that allows you, or facilitates geo-coordinating your data regardless of what format it is. So as you are seeing here in the sample video, I have the terrain model coming from the survey team, and then I want to see how it looks like in the real world setting. So I reference a raster data or an imagery, okay? And then if, let's say, for instance, I have a LiDAR or point cloud data of that area, I will integrate them by using the point cloud tools, or probably you have a GIS data in a shape format. Okay, let me just push that a little bit. Okay, so every data that is in this format are quite big. Okay, the format itself could be more than hundreds of MBs, or even gigs, okay, that uh, would probably, you're pushing the limits of the software. But with OpenRoads Designer, this big real world data can be handled in an optimized manner all the time. So this one showing you the point cloud data integrated in the same model. And then let me just push this a little bit further. So I want you guys to see how you can change the rendering of the point cloud data just within OpenRoads Designer. And then, of course, integrating your reality models. So these reality models if you're using any Bentley solution, it could be processed inside context capture. Oops, sorry, push that too far. Okay, it could be in a format called .3mx created from context capture, which basically is based on photogrammetry or photos triangulated or aero triangulated in order for you to create a reality mesh. This one. Okay, so all these data or information inside one main or master model so that you can make sure you integrate different uh, real world data. Now, of course, integrating different disciplines would be easy because we support different workflows, okay? Geotechnical workflows, GIS mapping workflow, and of course, drainage and utilities, which I have already mentioned in the first part of the presentation. And if you have to do a high-end type of hydraulic, okay, or hydrologic calculation, we have a seamless open close integration because we can uh, use, or we have already the StormCAD, but you can also uh, uh, trigger or turn on functionalities of SewerCAD, SewerGems, and Civil Storm. Okay, and of course, not to mention that you can easily integrate models created by Open Buildings Designer, Open Bridge Modeler, and Open Plant Modeler because of its all DGN format. But of course, don't get me wrong, we also support third-party civil design or even other CAD platforms. And if you need to go through a high-end type of, VIM workflow, we can integrate directly to the digital twin workflow, which is facilitated by our uh, iTwin technology, which could be another another discussion or another presentation in itself. So, of course, okay, regardless of what project deliverables are required, you are able to do that inside OpenRoads Designer. Simple reports, okay, which is basically a byproduct of your corridor model already. All those machine readable data types, land XML or other survey data type of formats, and of course the ever encompassing output that is required from us all the time are your sheets or drawing sheets or production sheets to the plan profile as well as your cross section sheets. Now, what's good about OpenRoads, we have this new tool that allows you to bulk create your sheet in bulk because it it will allow you to identify all the geometries or alignments and then create the drawing sheets in one shot, okay, by using the place name boundary tool, and then prior to that identifying all those geometries that will show as plan as well as long section and also cross section. So giving you that flexibility, okay, to really minimize your workflows and let you or allows you to output them in one go. Okay. And of course, with your workspace intact, all this can be done very fast and automatically once your workspace is set up properly. Okay. Then lastly, before I show some samples of our users that uh, okay um, with OpenRoads Designer, so the model that you create itself is, as I said, I have one example already shown, but I just would like to reiterate that you can, or the model you create is the visualization model already, okay? By using this drive-through tool or 3D drive-through tool, you'll be able to visually examine your model, okay? And then you can also use some ORD tools that allows you to record this as an animation, or maybe do a rendered still image or high resolution still image of the project that you have. Now, of course, if you need to create really high-res videos or animation of your models, we have a direct integration to Luminarty, which is Bentley's visualization engine. From ORD itself, you can export the model that you create and then add or do some more makeups on that in LumenRT. We have some civil specific libraries or functionalities or tools inside LumenRT to enable maybe traffic simulation. It could be single lane or multi-lane traffic simulation, as you can see here in this video. Okay, so anytime you wish to create a traffic animation like this, it could be done easy inside LumenRT, relying on the ORD or OpenRoads Designer model that you have created. And you are also able to do some stage animation because LumenRT allows you to export your traffic script to Vissim, okay, and then do the more realistic type of traffic animation there, and then import that Vissim file inside or back inside LumenRT. So regardless of a model being road, rail, okay, and depending on the scene that you would like to depict, nighttime, daytime, and then even the location of your project. That's why from the very start, you have to make sure that you assign the right coordinate system, because the season or the time of the day also can be staged or modeled inside LumenRT. Okay, and getting, and of course, you'd be able to do panoramic type of output as well by using the full version of LumenRT, uh, so that you can create large type of sceneries or animations like this, such as here. Okay. Now I'm going through the last 3 slides of my presentation. So this is just to showcase 3 of the top, entries that we have in our annual Going Digital um, awards in Year in Infrastructure, if some of you have heard of it. So it's more like an Oscars of the infrastructure industry. So the one you're seeing on the left is a project done by Sistra. It is called the Mumbai Coastal Road Project. So basically, they use OpenRoads Designer to model the alignments and the roads, okay, and then integrate it with our other solution like Modeler, okay, and then using LumenRT to show you a very nice visualization or depiction of the project itself. Then the one you're seeing on the right is the Oosterweel Verwinding. I cannot pronounce. Okay, and Antwerpen by Sweco, Netherlands in Europe. So this is like a really large project samples of they're actually the finalists, okay, in the YII or Year in Infrastructure Awards last 2020. Okay, and then another example that I would like to showcase is the winner of that particular Going Digital Award. So this is the Chengdu Even Expressway by Sichuan Road and Bridge Group Company in China. So basically, if you are, if you could look closely at the animation being shown here, this is just one part of the project, but basically the project is 155 kilometers long, involving 154 bridges, 4 tunnels, which length the length is 7.3 kilometers, involving 17 interchanges, and it also involves quite a number of contractors or subcontractors. And imagine the expand or the huge or the large data that they're working on, basically using our tool. And the main civil design tool that they use is OpenRoads Designer. Okay, and then with OpenRoads Designer, they also able to do some, confluence trigonometry and annular ramp study tests. Allows them to use the, visual inspection to use the BIM model itself in order to identify those problematic areas that would be, if it that would minimize, the what you call this accidents, okay, that might happen when you're driving along that particular road. Okay. Then on the right side, they use the line of sight tool uh, inside ORD to improve more or less comfort of driving and contribute to the safe and high speed construction of the expressway. Okay, so by conducting a visual inspection, so they're able to or together with the ORD civil tools, they were able to really make sure that their design would also be a good or following a good design standards in their uh, local area. Okay, in this case, from Chengdu to even uh, China. Okay, so with that, I am ending my presentation, Casey. So I hope I gave you a good, information as well as a presentation as to the benefits, okay, of using OpenRoads Designer for you to deliver, big projects and do it faster and in a flexible and scalable manner. So that's all for me, Casey. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Melan, so much for the insightful presentation. So I hope the attendees will be able to see the power of OpenRoads in terms of our specialized tools, the file management, as well as the um, deliverables production. And yeah, I hope that it will help you in your large project, which is essentially what OpenRoads is built for. So right now we will move on to the Q&A session. Unfortunately, we are running out of time, so probably I'll just collate the question and ask it as a group. Melan, for the first question, I guess we always hear the same question from webinar to another. So the audience is asking, what design standard has Bentley incorporated into OpenRoads? I guess what they're asking for is which country standard we have already put inside our country pack.
Okay, that's a great question. For OpenRoads Designer, okay, once you download the software package, the default design standard there is the AASHTO metric and imperial design standard. Okay, but in our Connect downloads website, you can also search from India standards, Singapore standards. Then we also have ANZ standards added in. Okay, I am only talking about the South Asia and Southeast Asia as well as the ANZ. Okay, but other regions also has their own. All you need to do is just download them and then run the installer, and then it will automatically be added in the workspace worksheet of the software. And,
Right,
and this would also would include your geometry standards, basically super elevation standards, and so on. Okay, so on.
So I guess that would cover Malaysia as well, because there's someone from Malaysia actually asking this question.
For Malaysia, okay, we are still, there's no downloadable standard yet, okay, but we are in the process of, customizing it or adding it in. So for Southeast Asia, we only have the ASHTO as well as the Singapore standards.
Okay, thanks for that. There's another question. I guess probably you can answer during the session.
Okay.
This attendee is asking, how do we design the pavement overlay thickness on existing road? I mean, I guess he's asking like what tools do we have for this?
Great. Maybe if I can share back my screen.
Yeah.
Because I just want you guys to again see the pavement. You can see my screen again.
Yes, right.
So the pavement, as I said, okay, can be constructed or created by utilizing the template. So this is basically the one that defines the pavement materials as well as the quantities. So you have to have that particular template depicting the typical or not so typical cross section of your road. And together with your horizontal and vertical profile, this would facilitate the 3D corridor model of your road. I hope I answered that correctly or properly. Okay.
Yeah, so, I guess it's what this guy is looking for. Okay. So I guess we take one more question. This person, I think he is a Civil 3D user. So he's asking like, how do we migrate the data over into OpenRoads?
Okay. Very good. I like that question. Okay. For those who are migrating or probably still using Civil 3D, okay, we have tools that will allow you to import in. Maybe you start with terrain, so you export your terrain from Civil 3D to LandXML. Then your alignment as well, export it to LandXML. And then inside ORD, we have a way for you to import that LandXML so that your terrain as well as your alignment could be converted into DGN. Okay. But of course, I have to be honest, okay, because the technology behind Civil 3D and ORD are very much different. So the sub-assemblies or assemblies that you have created in Civil 3D, you have to recreate them and create them into a template. Okay, so the template, which is basically what you're seeing on the screen, is the equivalent of the assembly and the sub-assembly in Civil 3D.
Okay.
Answer that. So again, just export them into LandXML, then import them inside ORD. That's it. And also, DWG can be readily opened inside any MicroStation-based software, which includes OpenRoads. Okay, but of course, it will stay as CAD. So probably you can just use that as a reference. But the civil information there is not going to be intact. So you have to use the LandXML to facilitate the civil exchange of data between the two softwares. Okay.
Okay. Thanks for sharing, Milan. I guess we are already on the hour mark. There's still a few technical questions which is pretty in detail. So I guess the regional representative will reach out to you to answer this. So I guess we need to close the session now. So thank you all for attending the webinar, and please answer the survey question right after this. It will help us in arranging the future webinar topics, which we hope will benefit you in your work. So thanks again for coming to our webinar.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Bye.